It's another day for Astronomy Daily Live. Hey, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well out there. It is 2 hours UTC. You can call me Cosmic. Hope everybody's doing well. Everything's well here. Coming off of another weekend. Kind of a lazy weekend this weekend. Most weekends I spend sort of working, um, working, um, you know, uh, during the week since I do have a day job that's at least right now sort of part time. Um, I usually can do a little bit of my work, my research and whatnot in the mornings. Um, and then I go into the day job, and then I come home and I putz around a little bit, and then do the live stream, and then putz around a little bit more, then I go to bed, and then flip and repeat. But and then the weekends, it's like, wow, I've got 2 whole days, right, to just devote to work, and as I said yesterday, I I started working yesterday on 2 different projects, and it was just, I think the universe was telling me to just chill, right? Just chill, stop, just you know, why don't you go smell the roses instead? Don't be working so much. Just sort of chill, right? And what the universe is telling me right now is to tweet the fact that I'm on live now. There we go. Nerd hype, nerd hype. There we go. Cool, cool. Got some people in the chat already. Bobby is there. Tom is there. Hey, Tom. Nice to see you. Saw your post over on the Discord server, and that this this is one of my continuing gripes. That particular paper is not available unless you pay for it, and what can I say? I mean, these authors pay these publications literally, literally hundreds of dollars per page to publish their stuff. And then the same publishers, um, you know, for whatever reason, right, think that they have to, think they don't quite have enough, right? I mean, if it's $500 a page, which is not, which is about right, um, that's not enough. That's not enough. So they have to charge uh, anybody who wants this paper, 40 bucks, $50, whatever, you know, and uh, it's very, very strange, right? It's just very, very strange, um, that they think that they have to do that. And hey there, Uncle Bill. Nice to see you with the glasses on. With the glasses on there. You're um, I don't quite recognize you. It looks like you're in disguise. Looks like you're in disguise. Maybe you're just lurking because you're watching 50 of these live streams at the same time. So yeah. But I'm glad to see you in the chat. Hope everybody is well. So anyway, Tom, I did see the paper you posted. I think Pamela Gay talked about that on the Daily Space on Friday as well. The fact that they found, and I'm not remembering exactly the details of the article now, but it was something to do with the fact that they found some kind of object orbiting a neutron star at an extreme at like the shortest um, uh, period known, like days or hours or something like that. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. I because I couldn't find that paper, I actually went and did a search for what papers I could find, and and uh, uh, and Bobby, I will make a comment about um, Hearts of Space here in just a minute. Um, uh, so yeah, that instrument. What's that instrument called? I'm going to go over to my Linux machine here and see if I can find your post really quick. Um, where did you put it? Did you put it in on the science channel, on the miscellaneous channel? Where did you put it? I don't remember. I hope everybody saw my sunset picture from a couple of weeks ago. I've got a few more of those two from the same event. That is over on the miscellaneous channel on my Discord server, which you can find a link to down there. I think all you guys that I'm seeing on the chat there are on the Discord. So yeah, take a look at that. I mean, I really, really, I mean, uh, I forget who I told this to. Maybe it was Tim. No, it was Adam. It was Adam Synergy. Um, he was saying, he would kill for my kind of sky, and I don't really recommend that, but I know what you mean, and you know being here was completely planned, right? I mean, this is the I mean, not specifically exactly here, but being in a dark, open location was in the plan. I mean, it's been in the plan for uh, my entire life, right? And so yeah, I mean, it's planned, but at the same time, I know how fortunate I am, to be an astronomer and also to have this kind of sky and to have, well, maybe I'll just show it to you on I'll show it to you on this live stream here. Let's go over here, Discord. And while that's loading, I'm going to load up the live stream on my smartphone so I can monitor proceedings there. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. We go over here. Hide that. Get over here. Dun, 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 dun. Go over here. Go to miscellaneous. And there it is. So this was like from March 24th or something like that, and yeah, it was absolutely spectacular. This area down here um, actually got even more red, and this whole area here got like just this really incredible yellow, and these clouds were so low, they were moving so fast. I captured a little bit of video too, so maybe I'll post that video on here too, because yeah, I mean, seeing this kind of stuff, just, I mean, I know how fortunate I am, because it's just fabulous, just absolutely fabulous. So um oh, okay, on the Space Channel. So let's go over there, because yeah, I wanted to see I wanted to talk about yeah, the nicer mission, NICER. And yeah, I found a paper about nicer, and how they actually use that data um, to get the information they do. And it's pretty heavy math. So I didn't really spend a lot of time um, getting into it. But yeah, it's really interesting stuff. Okay, so yeah, these two stars, they revolve around each other every 38 minutes. It's just absolutely insane. And these kinds of things, though, Tom, really, for me, those kinds of numbers sort of throw a red flag um, in my head. It's the skeptic flag, right? And it's like, is there any other explanation for the data that they're seeing, right? Because I mean, it they're they're using mathematical models, right? They're taking this data, right, and they're plugging it into their models, um, which have they all models have an inherent bias, right? I mean, because you're trying to model something, right? And so they plug this data in to their models, and they get a result, right? And I don't know. Of course, I don't have any kind of alternative explanation or anything. I'm just these kinds of things, just as a scientist, right? I mean, I want to be extremely skeptical, extremely. Um, and so, what needs to happen, of course, is, well, one, we have to gain access to this paper, right? Which if you want to, you know, put out the bucks to get it, okay, fine. But this kind of paper should be available. And I'm not going to get into that again, um, but and then look at how they came to that kind of a conclusion. And my guess is that if you really dive into it a lot, there's probably some hand waving, there's probably some assumptions, there are probably you know some biases, um, that they may not even be aware of, right? I mean, it's really cool. And you know thanks for these kinds of posts. I encourage everybody, um, when you find an interesting piece of news, post it up on here. And it doesn't really matter where, um, because at least I'll see it, and I will definitely at least try to remember to bring it up during a live stream, because as I said, this live stream is a gathering of friends. It's a circle of friends. It's like a virtual porch, right? So I mean, it's not me up in front, at a lectern, um, preaching. It's all of us having a conversation, and when you post things over here, that's that's a way of um, participating in that kind of conversation. So yeah, I greatly encourage this. I greatly appreciate you posting this because yeah. I mean, I like to talk about these kinds of things, and yeah. As I said, I did a search over on archive.org for nicer, NICER, and found a couple of interesting papers, one of which sort of describes their process, which I said is intensely mathematical, but uh, and I mean, I don't have a problem with that kind of stuff, except for the fact that it takes a lot of time for me to go through all the math and try to understand what they're doing. There's nothing really too complicated there. It's just it's just a lot, and I mean, it's describing a model, right? So, but it's very very cool, and these kinds of results, of course, are extremely compelling because it's like how can how can two stars be going around each other every 38 minutes? That's just insane. I mean, you know, just think of what that would look like, right? I mean, in the time of this live stream, right? I mean, they will have gone around um, at least once, if not almost twice, right? So it's absolutely amazing, absolutely amazing. So, Bobby, you mentioned, and I'm gonna go back to my ugly mug here. So, Bobby, you mentioned music from the hearts of space. You know what? These past 2 weeks, I've been pretty disappointed. Last week, um, I, I didn't even get through it. I was like, "What is this? What is this?" So, just my opinion, you know. Um, but sometimes Hearts of Space really bombs. Sometimes they really, really bomb, um, at least in my opinion. Sometimes they are so just amazing, right? It's like I want to hear it over and over and over again, and um, I can actually meditate to it and all of that, right? And it's really, really, really nice. But last week was definitely, for me, a bomb. Um, and this week, I'm still listening to it. I think I'm about halfway through it. I recorded it earlier today, and I was listening to it this afternoon, and yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's one of those in between ones where it's like it's not terrible. It's definitely not terrible, but it's definitely not at least for me mind blowing. Right? I mean, uh, and not they don't all have to be that way, but so yeah, nice enough. I greatly encourage all of you um, to go over there. If you like space, um, if you like astronomy, if you like science, then you may like sort of space music, and that's what music from the hearts of space more or less is. They've moved in the last decade or so. They've sort of expanded into other areas, ethnic, cultural, and most of those I really really like, and some of them are just like, what were you guys thinking, right? Um, but yeah, yeah. This week's show was pretty good. Um, Definitely not anything memorable so far. So far, um, but I can say this. Regardless of what I think of the actual music itself, being a musician, I also greatly appreciate musicianship, the the um, the ability to play music really, really well, and you know come up with some interesting um, combinations of sounds, not only in terms of tones, but in terms of um, instrumentation and voice and all the effects and all that. So even if I don't like um, the music per se, right? I can I I still try and succeed at greatly appreciating how the music is played, right? For instance, the past 3 or 4 years, every single year, I've I've gone into Tucson to go see Dweezil Zappa, right? He's on um, pretty much constant tour, and he plays his dad's music, um, Frank Zappa, right? Now, I've listened to Frank Zappa's music, and it's not my kind of music at all. I mean, I understand though, right? I mean, lots of the lyrics are absolutely hilarious, and some of the songs, you know, are um, really really great. But what I go for is I want to watch the musicians playing, right? Because they are they're some of the best musicians I've ever seen. I mean, they are really really good at what they do. Um, Dweezil is an amazing, absolutely amazing guitar player, and I I just like watching him play. And then on top of that is the sound itself, right? Which, as I said, the music, you know, I'm sort of like this on it. Um, uh, you know, Being in that environment, um, um, you sort of get into the vibe, and yeah, it's like this is pretty cool. But I listened to them later, and it's like, is that what I heard? Huh? Okay, yeah. But the musicianship is really really awesome. So yeah. Anyway, and that goes for some of the episodes with music from the hearts of space as well. It's like, well, don't really like this genre. I don't really like you know uh, these particular songs, but I can say that I mean everything that I hear is extremely well played, is extremely well sung, and uh, I mean uh, that music is coming from amazing places. So I can appreciate them at that level, but sometimes the music themselves is just like, hmm, oh well. And do I like listening to shortwave? I do. Um, However, I don't. I don't listen much to shortwave at all. And mainly because it takes um, you have to be able to commit some time to it in order to scan around um, and actually listen to shows. And that those kinds of things, I just honestly, I just don't have the time for. Now I could definitely make some time to do that, um, but I haven't yet. I haven't yet. There were times in the past where I listened to shortwave a lot more, and these days it's so easy because they've got all those um, internet shortwave radios. So I mean, it'd be extremely easy for me to actually listen to those and work at the same time. So I mean, yeah, that's something I probably need to get into a little bit more. Definitely, another thing that I'd like to do just for practical purposes is get my ham license um, and um, um, have a transceiver here. I I don't have any motivation to get my ham license because I don't have um, any of the equipment. So it's sort of like, well, why would I get a ham license if I'm not able to do anything? So if I were able to get my hands on some equipment and be able to transmit and receive, then I would probably be quite inclined to get my license um, and do that. Right? I'm more in terms of radio. I think I would lean more towards radio astronomy, uh, which is something that I'd really like to get into. But again, it's like um, I need the hardware to do it, and I just don't have it, right? So maybe at some point, maybe at some point. Hey there, Jill. Nice to see you in the chat. Um, cool. Hey, I just wanted to comment too about what's this guy? Uh, where is he? The report of the week. The report of the week. Now I've I spent now I didn't spend all day, but I I spent some time today over on his YouTube channel, and um, I'm I don't know, I'm not exactly speechless, but wow, it's kind of interesting um, how large of a viewership this guy has for the content that he's creating. It's I I don't, and maybe I'm just being incredibly dense because I am. I'm incredibly dense. I will freely admit that, right? But I'm not quite sure what is so appealing. Um, the thing that I do like about him is that he seems to be very intelligent, um, very respectful, um, uh, um, and you know maybe that's about it, right? I mean, he primarily what he's been doing is is reviewing like fast food and getting 100, 200,000, 300,000, 400, 500,000 views. Now he's got almost a million subscribers, and actually in one of his videos that I watched early on, uh, um, he was talking about that, and you know, sort of underlined some information that I'd already learned, and that is, you know, it really doesn't matter how many subscribers you have. What really matters is the number of views you get, because you know that's actually people, you know, clicking on your link and watching for a certain amount of time. And he said this, and you know, a little bit of research that I did sort of confirm this. And he said, you know, if your number of views is 10% or more of your number of subscribers, then you're doing pretty well, right? You're successful, right? Well, wow, you know, this guy's getting 100,000, 200,000, 300, 500,000 views, right? For reviewing um, pizza. And it's kind of interesting. I went over to his Patreon page, and um, yeah, I'm talking about views like per video, right? Yeah, I mean his total views, I'm not exactly sure, um, but you know, uh, so I went over to his Patreon page, and it says there that he's got something like 1,800 Patreons, and just I'm scratching my head, sort of wondering, uh, you know, what exactly is so appealing. I mean, look, my bottom line is that if he or you is having fun, then that's all that matters, right? That's all that really matters. But then I've got to scratch my head and wonder. I've got to wonder what what is going on. I'm not exactly I'm not exactly sure. It's kind of it's kind of strange. Um, and again, it's probably because I'm just culturally dense. I certainly do not have my um, finger on the pulse of the culture, and you know, maybe that kind of content is what's appealing. I'm not exactly sure, but the interesting thing um, is that you know, if if he can do that, then pretty much anybody can. Um, so yeah, I think you know, I mean, I think he's well. And here's another point too, right? He's being intelligent. He's being um, pretty articulate. He's being respectful, and I think he's being very very sincere, right? It's you know, it doesn't seem as though, at least, he is putting on any kind of show. He's just being himself, and for some reason, right, um, that uh, that kind of personality is very appealing, um, at least enough or to the extent that he can make a living, right? I mean, he can get all of his bills paid, um, and you know, here's more judgment on my part, but I'll sort of put it out there anyway, and that is, if all this guy is doing is responding to comments and emails and eating, it's like, I'm not quite sure. Look, if he's having a good time, cool. That's very, very cool. But I'm not quite sure how much of a good time that is, right? Responding to emails and eating? I don't know. I don't know. It's hmm, I don't know. I don't know, but it's really interesting. It's really, really, really interesting. Um, so you know, uh, if I'm just wondering if this kind of thing is sustainable. I'm not exactly sure, right? I mean, I have 89 subscribers, and I'm I'm happy if I get, you know, 15 or 20 views. So who am I, right? I mean, I and I guess it's also what you're after, right? And that's where I think um, at least a lot of the um, sincerity comes from. I mean, he seems very, very sincere, um, and as I said, really, really smart. So anyway, I think it's interesting. I think it's cool, and more power to him. I also found yeah. I mean, it is a different audience for sure, but I don't even know what kind of audience that is. It seems to be completely in another universe, uh, outside of the one that, you know, I'm at least sort of aware of. And, who am I, right? Who am I? Um, but um, yeah, maybe I am very, very niche, and I think I think uh, I definitely want to keep that niche, but I also I, I would like this to be a little bit more than just sort of the technical uh, serious science thing too. I'm gonna have to think about this. He's given me much to think about. So yeah, but I'm glad you're all here, and thing you know, and this is for sure. Okay, this is for sure. This live stream, this channel will continue to evolve. There are two things, right, that are sort of at the top of my list. Number one is have fun. Number one. Number two is get better every single day. And since I'm doing this every single day, this is like practice, right? I mean, um, being a musician, I understand this, that practice allows you to get better and better and better and better, even if you know the song really well, right? Practicing it will make it even better, better and better and better. So that is definitely what I'm after, and that's my at least short-term goal, is to just get better and better and better at this. And yeah, I don't see any need or desire to stop, because honestly, this is super easy. This is super, super easy, because I'm not putting on a show, um, and I'm doing precisely what I want, right? I'm not being told, to um, talk about certain things. And when it comes to astronomy, right? I have I have the whole universe in my hand, right? I mean, I will never, ever, ever, ever run out of topics or subject matter or data or anything. I never, ever will. So the hardest thing that I have to do is reach out and grab something. That's the hardest thing I have to do. And I don't I don't even think about why I'm here, um, because this is so easy. It's so incredibly easy. I don't wonder about that at all. So yeah, I think being here, being here consistently, um, and offering something relatively intelligent, relatively um, uh, um, uh, useful, um, something that you can um, think about a little bit. Um, that's cool. That's cool. And of course, number three is sharing the passion, right? Sharing the passion. Now I'm going to grab something out of nowhere and something that I haven't talked about in a little while, and um, that is observing satellites. Satellites. So somebody in the chat, somebody in the chat, um, either um, give me a name of like the city or the state or the province or anything where either you are located or just some kind of random one. And we'll go look and see what satellites are going over uh, that location. So whichever one I see first is sort of the one um, I'll go for. And if I don't see any ones at all, then I'll just do um, my location here. But we're going to go over to a website called Heavens Above. As soon as I see a location to go to over here, I'm looking over on my chat screen on. Okay, yeah, I figured I figured that Jill would be first. So let's do Montreal, Quebec. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. Now, well, here, I'll get over here first, and then I'll, I'll show you what I'll show you what I was going to say. Let's see, we want to go here, and we want to go here. So it's the website is heavens-above.com, and this is where you'll end up. Now, in the upper right, you can see that you can actually create a login. So with a login account, you can actually set your latitude and longitude to exactly where you are, right? Down. I mean, they've got like four decimal places here. So down pretty high resolution, right? Now I I can tell you for certainty that um, Sierra Vista, Douglas, Arizona, is relatively near my location, but I mean it's in the same county. But these two cities are about as far away um, from me as they possibly can be. So this is not exactly my location. But what we're going to do is we're going to go over to Montreal. Um, uh, okay, so we're going to click on location, and then it's going to pop up a map, right? And as you can see, of course, it's going to pop up a map where it thinks you are. And of course, this is the county that I'm in, down in southeastern Arizona. So we're going to zoom out here a little bit. So there's Tucson, there's Phoenix, here's El Paso over here. So we're going to keep zooming out a little bit. But then, you know, this is just Google Maps. So let's now scooch our way up to Montreal, just somewhere over here. There's Montreal. Okay. So I think I clicked on that. So now down here, yeah, it should give the latitude and longitude and the elevation. Wow, so you're almost sea level, huh? I didn't realize that you were that low. I guess I never even thought about it or so. I think I'm like 1,280 meters um, um, elevation um, at my location. So yeah, I'm up much higher, much higher. But yeah, so let's see. So now we can do an update, and it'll go back to heavens above, and it'll have the correct location, latitude, longitude, and time, right? So in Montreal right now, it is 10:46 p.m. Yeah, if the ice melts, we're drowned. Yeah, yeah. All right, so Heavens Above is an awesome site if you don't already know about it. And one of the cool things, right, about observing satellites is that um, you shouldn't you shouldn't use binoculars. You shouldn't use a telescope. So if you don't have uh, either of those, this is perfect. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, Uncle Bill uh, uh, repeats the thing I said at the beginning, and that is you can create a login account and set your latitude and longitude that way as well. So then each time um, you come into this log in, and of course it's going to remember where you are. But for demonstration purposes, we can also do that. So what they do over here is they list a few of the more, I guess, interesting satellites and give predictions for when they're going to pass over your location. So of course they have the International Space Station, they have the um, Chinese space station. I guess there's some kind of North Korean satellite, the HST, and a couple others, right? Just um, interesting ones, right? So let's see for Gilles up there when the ISS is going to be going overhead. Okay, so he's got some nice passes. Now, I don't think what we can do right away, right, is we can look at the orbit, and I think does this give the actual? Yeah, so the orbital inclination is 51 degrees. And if we look at the latitude here, you're at 45. So yeah, the International Space Station can actually go above, you know, north of your zenith at times. It's going to be relatively rare because that's pretty close, but it is actually inclined enough to do that. But of course, it would have to be way at the northern um, end of the orbit, to actually see that. So let's see if we get any any of those here. Because, of course, the closer it is to zenith, the closer it's going to physically be um, um, to you, and therefore bright. Um, so, so of course, here's the date over here. Here's the um, I think this is supposed to be sort of the maximum brightness it gets. Um, Start time when you can see it first, and then where it is in the sky. So this is the altitude above the horizon, and also the azimuth. Just taking this first example, um, so if you were to be looking east northeast at an altitude of 14 degrees at 1:34 a.m. Um, on the 13th, which oh, we've already passed that. Oops. Um, you'll start to see it, right? And it actually doesn't get much higher than that, right? Because its highest point is the same, also east northeast, and then it sort of dips below the east northeast horizon. It gets below 10 degrees just a couple of seconds later. So this is an extremely short pass, right? I mean, 30, 32 seconds long. Not really worth, not really worth seeing. But I noticed down here, look at this one on the 19th of May. On 19th of May, Gilles, I want you to get up early, right? You got to get up early and starting at 4:18, 4:19, I guess, you look towards your west southwest, I'm sorry, your west northwest, you'll start seeing a bright moving target, right? It reaches its highest point, which is almost at the zenith, right? 80, 89 degrees um, above the horizon. That's pretty much straight up. So it's going to be going right overhead, right, at 4:22 a.m. And then by 4:25, it will have moved eastward. Of course, this satellite and most satellites do go from sort of the west to the east. Even the ones that have sort of a polar orbit, you may notice a little bit of west to east motion. Um, yeah, um, Uncle Bill, though, Gilles is so far high in latitude that I'm thinking that he's going to be able to see this thing almost any time, right? I mean, these are visible passes, right? These aren't um, passes that are happening, and he's not going to be able to see them. These are ones that he can actually see. So because his latitude is so high, right? Um, he is actually going to be able to see the ISS at midnight. See, here's one um, that, yeah, so he'll be able to see this anytime, right? So here's another one at midnight. Yeah, yeah, it's a combination of his latitude and the time of year, right? Now, in the wintertime, he's probably not going to be able to see these ones at midnight, right? Because the Earth is sort of the other way. But because of the time of year, right? I mean, oh my gosh, we're a month away from the solstice. Holy moly! Um, so because of the time of year and his latitude, yeah, he can see this thing anytime, right? So yeah, let's focus on this one though, the 89-degree one. So if you click on the date, you'll get a chart, a sky chart, showing where it is and which way it's going. So you can sort of see the arrow here, right? That means it's going this way. And it also shows what time it is, right? So 4:17, 4:18, 4:19, 4:20. So, because it's moving so close, right? This is about as close as it can get. Um, it, you know, um, its apparent motion is insane, right? I mean, it moves across, you know, 1/4 of the sky in a minute, right? I mean, these guys are moving, right? 17,500 miles an hour or so. Um, but yeah, look, it's going right through the um, summer triangle. Deneb, um, Altair, and Vega make up what's called the summer triangle right here. So Gilles, you'll have to get up, call all your friends, call them about 4 o'clock or so, and let them know that the space station is going overhead. They will thank you for that, right? Because they will want to get up and see this. Because what else are you going to be doing at 4 o'clock in the morning? I don't know. Um, so yeah, and then there's another feature. Is it here? Yeah, there's a ground track as well. So of course this is what you will see from the ground as you look up. There's also a ground track, which is more or less what the ISS will see looking down, right? So this is their track. So that's pretty cool. And as you can see, you know, these are equal times now because, yeah, I mean, it's moving in a pretty linear way. So, yeah, they'll say you're drunk. No, you're just crazy. That's all. So yeah, I mean, boy, that's going right overhead, right overhead. Very, very cool. Um, so, and actually, what this circle represents is visibility, right? So anybody in this circle is going to see that. Um, it'll just be at a different location in the sky, right? These will be, you know, if you're north of the ground track, then the ISS will be south of you, and if you're south of the ground track, you you get the idea. So you've got some pretty good passes, and that's very very bright. I mean, that's as bright as Venus, right? So that's a nice bright pass. Um, what I like to do is when I first see it, and when it starts to go out, I like to look for glints off the solar panels, which you can often see. So make sure to watch the whole pass, um, because yeah, you'll get some um, um, glinting there for sure. So yeah, over the next 10 days, you got some really some bright passes that are going, pretty high up. So very very cool. And then if you want to go to the next 10 days, you can do that also with these little arrow things here. That's right, Uncle Bill. Exactly. We're just being friendly. Like, hey, the International Space Station with people in it. is flying overhead, 400 kilometers up, 400 kilometers above us. There are people zooming around at 17,500 miles an hour, and we can see it and we can wave, you know? Anyway, yeah, so some pretty good passes there for Gilles of the space station for sure. So yeah, check that out. And I know, Gilles, that you do radio stuff with them as well. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're already aware of this, but uh, we're just using you as an example. Um, so the other interesting thing that I sort of like to look at is this one, um, spacecraft escaping um, the solar system. And, they just sort of give some diagrams showing where they are and their paths. And of course, there's 5 of them, um, Pioneer 10 and 11, um, Voyager 1 and 2, and New Horizons. So there they are. That's where they currently are, right? Both looking down um, onto the solar system, and also sort of across its plane. You can sort of see where those guys are, and you can see how far away they are and how fast they're moving. And you can definitely see for sure that Voyager 1 is moving faster than anybody else, right? Almost 17 kilometers per second. I think that's the fastest object that humans have ever propelled. So it's moving along pretty well, pretty far out there too, right? 141 AUs. That's pretty far out there. Where's that? There it is. Voyager 1 right there. Voyager 2. Pioneer 10 is going that way. Pioneer 10's going, or Pioneer 11's going that way. Very cool. So then, Jill, what you can do is you can look for all of the satellites. And I think you said somewhere that you can't see anything fainter than 2.5. Well, you can actually set that here. It only goes to 3, but let's set that to 3. And I think we got to update. So this is for the evening of May 13th, which is your local evening. These are the bright satellites that you should be seeing. And let's see, your time right now is 23:03. So right now, in just less than a minute, um, Cosmos 2487 is going to be um, um, just sort of appearing almost overhead to your northwest. So it obviously it's coming out of the Earth's shadow and is going to be moving towards the northeast, and you'll see that all the way down, right? Magnitude 2.4. So I mean, it's pretty faint, pretty faint. Don't really see anything incredibly bright here. Most of these things are what are called rocket bodies. These are like the second stages um, of rockets that just haven't come down yet. Um, and that's what a lot of these are. Yeah, there's tanks, rocket bodies, um, but there's a few actual operating satellites up there, and there are organizations. I still need to look into these, but there are um, people that observe and track these on the ground, and they have these big networks um, 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 communicating this kind of information around to, monitor, especially, like the rockets, um, bodies and stuff, to make sure, that they actually do at least eventually re-enter. And yeah, Stellarium is really, really cool about that too. You can enter the two-line um, elements of any satellite, and um, you can watch it go with Stellarium as well. So yeah, Stellarium is extremely awesome. And yeah, some of the rocket bodies are rotating um, uh, on um, many axes of rotation. So not just, you know one axis, but they're um, pitching and yawing and rolling, um, all all simultaneously. So yeah, watching them tumble is pretty cool too. So yeah. So anyway, these are the ones that you should be able to see, down to third magnitude. Now, I mean, if you were able to get out onto a dark site and be able to see all the way down to fifth magnitude, it's, I mean, even this list is pretty sizable, right? I mean, that's a lot of satellites to see over the course of an evening, right? But if you get to a dark site, then it's like, holy moly, right? I mean, dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of these things. Look at them all. There's a lot of crap up there. Pretty amazing, A lot of them are rocket bodies, as you can see. Oh, but yeah, just absolutely amazing. How many of these can be observed? And as I said, if you hook up with these organizations that track these things, you can actually make contributions to this. I need to find out about that. I haven't looked into that, and every single time um, I've done a live stream about um, satellites, I've always said, I need to look into that a little bit more, and I haven't yet. So yeah. Um, all right, well, cool. Let's see. I don't think there's really anything else. Are we still getting iridium flares? I guess we're still getting some iridium flares. Oh, okay. Well, quite a few. Quite a few iridium flares. Some of them. Here's one that's going to be really bright. Here's another one that's going to be extremely bright. The iridium flares are going away. I guess the new um, iridiums don't have the same kind of solar panels, so we're not going to be getting any more of those huge flares. But those are kind of cool to see, and something this bright, right? You can actually see in the middle of the day, right? In fact, if you tell it to include daytime flares, it will do that. So there's still some iridium flares going on. That's pretty cool. Oh, went too far. Let's see, anything else here? There's some basic astronomical stuff. If you want to look at the sky charts and all that, that's cool. Solar system chart. That's probably, yeah, that's kind of nice. That's kind of nice. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. So that's pretty cool. Mercury looks like it's about as far away from the sun in the morning as it's going to get. So if you get a chance, go out in the morning. I mean, Gilles, you're going to be up anyway, so so take a look and see if you can see Mercury over there before the sunrise. Venus is starting to come around. Yeah, it's starting to come around. Mars, see, we're slowly um, catching up to Mars. It's not going to be, wow, it's maybe in another month or so. Um, is opposition. Saturn is sort of the same thing. So yeah. As I said, I'm sort of thinking. See, Mercury's going to come around here in 44 days. Mercury is going to be way over here, right? And in 44 days, Venus is going to be, yeah, maybe over here somewhere. 44 days, we'll be here. Yeah, so I'm thinking in a month and a half. So let's see, this is middle of May. So I'm thinking like in July, I'm thinking that we're going to have Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn all up in the evening sky in the same sky. Now, as I said, that's not incredibly rare, but it's pretty cool anyway. It's pretty cool to have them all in the same sky. So that's pretty awesome. And the Milky Way or the Big Dipper is above your head right now. Cool, 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 cool. All right. Well, I think I am going to get out of here for now. I think I've blown enough hot air again for another day. So I'm going to get out of here for now. Yeah, the mothership calls. So hope everybody has a great evening, a great day tomorrow. And if you're new to this live stream and just sort of have um, stumbled onto it, howdy. Um, Make sure to subscribe. You can hit the notifications there. Hit the thumbs up if you like it. Hit the thumbs down if you don't like it. Make some comments and share this around. I'm definitely, I'm not really interested in growing numbers or anything else like that, but I know that the numbers will grow. So share this around, um, and I'm just sharing a passion. This is just fun. I like talking astronomy. I could do it all day, all night, and I'd probably be completely exhausted. But doing it for an hour here or so is actually um, quite an adrenaline rush. Usually, uh, um, this time of night, I'm like, oh, I'm starting to get tired, starting to get a little bit tired. But because of this and because of you, um, I definitely get a little rush that keeps me up for at least another hour, um, hour or two or so, and that's nice. So all right, well, cool. All right, I'm gonna get out of here for now. Take care, everybody, and yeah, I'll see you in a little less than 23 hours from now. As I say, I will see you on the spin. Don't get dizzy. It's a smooth ride. We're used to it. Don't fall off either. Don't fall off. It's kind of hard to. All right. Take care, everybody. I will see you on the spin. Bye.